So I guess we'll talk about Berserk next.
Did y'all actually finish that one?
Oh my gosh.
We watched all 12 episodes.
Yes, we did.
Lord.
But just like you said, Shade, that animation was getting on my nerves. I saw a little bit of it, and I'm like, oh my God, I know what he's talking about. Okay, no, I'm going to keep going because the story's good. And then the next episode, I was like, oh God, this, the expressions on their faces is just like, it was really annoying. But the story got me through it. But I don't know. It's definitely not one of my favorites. Like just this visual.
No, the animation, like I said, like I tried it. Like I even watched like certain fight scenes later on, and I was like, oh, I can, maybe the fight scenes will get me into it. And I'm like, that animation just kills it because it doesn't feel like there's any seriousness in it. It doesn't feel like you're like, this is totally unbelievable. There's nothing like remotely even like, what the hell is going on? Why? There's no like the hits like in the original series when he hit somebody, you felt the impact of it. You're like, oh, wow. And I'm looking at this one, I'm like, eh.
I guess that's why it was
missed it.
It was probably easier for us to watch because we hadn't seen the original, so we could let that slide a little bit more. But I could see how that would get annoying if you have that previous expectation and it doesn't live up to it. But I mean, for the most part, I did enjoy it aside from the animation. If I just kind of didn't pay attention to it, if I paid more attention to what was going on story-wise, because they would switch it up occasionally from the CG to actual drawings, and you can tell the difference there because those were probably the more favorite scenes that I had was when you could tell that they switched it. But all in all, I would still say it was good enough to watch if that doesn't bother you, because there was another one that we saw, Mob Psycho, that people say are really good. People say it's really good, but visually I can't watch. But as far as Berserk,
but I mean, from someone I didn't watch it myself, but from someone I know who watched the original series and watched because they came out with OVAs. They're longer than the original episodes, but they span more of it, and it actually continued further past than the original series went.
Yeah.
So he's watched all of those, and he watched this one, and he was like, so just get your opinion. He was really disappointed with the ending.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm gonna add on to that. I definitely agree with it because, like, the beginning of it, I was like really excited to watch it, and as I was watching it, yes, the animation was getting on my nerves, but I was gonna stick with it because of the story. But as soon as it was just approaching the end, I was like, you know what? I really can that character please die, please. I can't stand it. I can't do that one. No. And then it just seemed like it just got more annoying. And then the ending, I was like, what? That was it?
It was kind of an abrupt end. And I think what they were trying to do is to get the original fans, when they saw that, to kind of just be like, oh, what's going to happen? Because I don't know if I should say how it ends, but let's just say a character is reintroduced. Mm-hmm. So you just kind of like, but the way that they kind of built up the story, it didn't seem like it would lead in that direction. So when that happens, it's just kind of like, you don't really get why, you don't understand what just happened. So and then when they explain what happens, what all the other characters go off and do, you're just kind of like, I don't know. It kind of
seemed like a big letdown.
Yeah. It was a big letdown because everything building up to it, because all the fights and him chasing after Casca and all of that stuff, and then it seems like this stuff just came out completely out of left field, and it left you wondering more than anticipating something for the next season.
Yeah.
But
I felt like it was abrupt and choppy, and then it's done.
But I will say this: the characters that I thought were gonna get on my nerves were the characters that ended up probably enjoying the most out of all of them. And then there was only one character that really got on my nerves, and I was just kind of hoping that they would just get rid of. But they never did. And I was like,
yeah.
Come on. But the characters are fine aside from that one character. the fights are pretty meaningful. You still kind of get that, like, 'cause when he makes an entrance and every time he makes an entrance, you're like, he's here, he did it, he made it in time. But like the fights, like you said, don't have that impactfulness because it's not as clean with the CG animation. Mm-hmm. Story-wise was pretty good, aside from that ending where it just kind of just throws you for a loop. But all in all, if the animation doesn't bother you, I'd say you can get through it and be entertained for the most part. There wasn't really a part in the whole series where there was a lull. It seems like everything was for a reason. They do a good job in introducing the characters as well as giving them their roles and what they're supposed to do, and it never really slows down. The pacing keeps you wondering what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So they didn't do a bad job as far as writing.
That's good.
Yeah. So
still, though, I mean, once you see the original series, I'm curious if you'll say the same thing.
I saw what because they had a Berserk movie on Netflix. I think it was something of the egg. It was part 1, and it was, I don't know if it's a prequel to the series or how it is, but it's the one where he first meets, I think the character is Griffith, and they kind of start developing a friendship. And
I think what you saw was actually the OVA that I was talking about before.
Yeah.
Because they have 4 of them out, I believe, 4 or 5, and they take place sequential events just like from the very beginning of like the actual series when it started itself. And I mean, the thing about the series too is like in the very beginning, in the original series, in the very beginning, they actually take you into the future. And then, or they kind of, it seems like the future, but it's kind of like the present time, where you see Guts kind of like the way he is, where I think, I didn't watch a whole bunch of it, but like the way I think he is in the second season, there's this series now, where you see him at, is where he was in the very beginning, and then they take you back, and they're like, okay, this is how he got to that point.
Yeah.
This is how he became the Black Swordsman. Mm-hmm. And stuff like that. And you start to see everything in his past, and you're like, oh, that's why. That's why he's as messed up as he is. Gotcha. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's like that Griffith, he was a main integral part of it, and everything that kind of sprouted from it. And that's why I said when you mentioned that, I was like, yeah, that's probably the OVA, because that's kind of how that started. Yeah.
But see, they use the same kind of animation style in that, because when they started off, it starts off with the big battle, and it's the CG. And when I first watched it, it was kind of off-putting. I was like, but I didn't have anything else to watch, so I pushed through. And then I ended up enjoying it because they kept switching back and forth. They would do CG and then animation, but so I thought that's just how the original series was. And then especially when I saw this one, it was the same thing.
No, the original series was very much like almost like a hand-drawn type cell shading. It was very much what you would think of like early 90s animation style was. Okay. So very no CG, it was just and I think in that sense it had more of an impact because it was it was a lot more realistic in that sense. Yeah. And I think in this anime, that is essential that you have that kind of like, just like with Big D with the with Hellsing Ultimate. I mean, it still had that cell shading look kind of to it, but it was more realistic looking and what they had. And because of that, when things that you saw happen, when Alucard's throwing people on and impaling them on flagpoles, and you're like, oh, because it has that, it's almost that gut-wrenching feeling. It's almost like you're there actually watching it and seeing it. But when you have that CG look to something that serious, it completely obliterates any sort of like connection that you could have to it.
Yeah, because you can't get as detailed as you could if it was hand drawn. So yeah.
Well, I would say you can, but for a TV production, they're not going to put that much money into it. Yeah. It's
not a big Hollywood movie where they can sit there and just do all that crazy stuff. But I mean, where that's what I'm saying. Like you won't get that out of a TV show.
Which is why I don't know why they keep trying to push for it on, in certain ones I think it works, Like when they try to do like the futuristic kind of looking things, hey, go CG hog wild, whatever, because you're already kind of going into the realm of just possibilities and stuff like that. But if you try to do it where something that's supposed to look either dark or old fashioned or just like very rustic, and you're trying to throw CG into it, completely off-puts it.
Yeah, that's a good point, because standalone complex, Ghost in the Shell, they would use CG for certain.
And that actually made sense to me. At least.
Because it wasn't the whole show. So the parts where it was just talking or it was just building up, it would still be the hand-drawn animation. It still be, well, not hand-drawn, but it would still be the animation. And then for like the action scenes where they would go into it, you would see the CG and it would work well enough where it would make sense. And it does work with that story because it is futuristic. So
and I think in that sense, any CG that anyone who wants to do CG, if they did it in that realm, would be great. It works because you're already kind of disconnected anyways, and now you're just kind of looking at the cool graphics of it, essentially. How it looks. You're like, oh, that just look at that shine and sparkle, and like the you see those with these, you're like, oh, that's cool looking or whatever, but you're already disconnected anyways because you're looking at the realm of just possibilities, not necessarily truthfulness. But like for like Berserk, I mean, he's carrying an overly large big sword, don't get me wrong, maybe one that Cloud would be like jealous of. But at the same time, that's all he's got. I mean, he's got a sword, he's got little tricks he has, but they're all very archaic. They're all very, you almost could think that you could put something like that together given enough time, So it's like, you're looking at that going, and then you get to throw in that CG, and you're like, So it's like, anyways.
Yeah. Unfortunately, well, I guess you can be fortunate that that's just probably the biggest downside is just animation. Because as far as how they wrote the story out, it was well thought out and it was a good story. If they fixed the animation, it would probably be perfect.
Listen, 91 Days needs to get on board. The animators there need to go get the Berserk and be like, all right, we're doing this. That would work out so much better.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
It was very calculated, very smart, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, you can tell they really took their time to think about how the story is going to play out, and it wasn't just kind of put together, and things weren't forgotten throughout the story. Everything happened for a reason, and it was really good. Mm-hmm. It really had me excited about the next episode because I really didn't know what would happen.
Everybody is adoring him, and it seems like he can do no wrong, even though he has this internal struggle where, oh my God, I didn't do this right, I didn't do that right, everybody hates me because of this and that, and meanwhile everybody else is like praising him and just they love him. So I love that little comic relief when internally he's just freaking out about making a little mistake and everybody is just like, oh, he's so glorious, he's so wonderful, I loved it.